Amy goes Roloff. Little People's Matt Roloff claims ex-Amy attacked him in crazy fight over the family's $4 million Oregon farm. Hi dear beautiful friends. It's America from Motion 48 YouTube channel. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Please subscribe to my channel. The family's feud over the farm continued on Tuesday's season premiere of the TLC series. The former couple are parents to twin sons, Zach and Jeremy, 32, a daughter, Molly, 29, and a son, Jacob, 25. I think that's how Matt survives. Everything's okay. Everything's dandy. You may be okay with this, but do you not realize that the people around you, your family, this is not okay? It didn't go down well, Amy said. She continued. This was something that I think hit to the core. And so I think that's hard just to sweep it away underneath the rug and say, okay, yeah, it's all good. I think it will take time for them. The scene flashed back to Amy talking to Chris, sharing her sympathies for her children over their dad's behavior. I guess the thought of their dad just saying, oh well, it didn't work out. It's like, wait a minute. It can't just be like that. There's too much personal and emotional things that have happened over the years, she stated. Matt and Amy's eldest children, Zach and Jeremy, each expressed interest in purchasing the farm, but Matt declined their offers after they couldn't reach a financial agreement. The patriarch later put the farm on the market for $4 million in hopes of finding a buyer outside the family. The move caused tension between the kids and their father and caused numerous arguments between Matt and Amy. Amy reflected on one of their heated disputes, saying things got crazy while discussing the farm sale. She also stated where she stands, saying she believed an agreement could have been worked out before the decision to sell was made. Later in the episode, Matt gave his side of the story while having lunch with his girlfriend, Caryn Chandler, 54. He detailed his spat with his ex-wife, claiming she attacked him over the issue. Amy seems pretty upset about it because I put the farm up for sale. If Amy's upset about something, she lets me know about it, Matt said in a confessional interview. Caryn tried to make sense of Amy's supposed outbursts, saying the mom of four didn't want her children to have to let go of the farm. Matt then explained that he was only selling a portion of the farm, though he could understand why his family was upset over the decision. Elsewhere during the episode, Zach ripped his father for screwing over the rest of the family. Since the farm announcement, we haven't seen much of my dad. Yeah, it's just not there anymore, he began. I haven't really talked to the family about the farm sale. I haven't really talked to any of my siblings about it. The whole thing is just upsetting, so I don't care about it. I don't think about it, because when I do think about it, it's upsetting how we got here. Zach continued. In my mind, my dad screwed the family, and he's playing victim. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for me to be around it, it's not healthy for Tori, and it's not healthy for our kids, and that's why we separated from it pretty quickly. I would look at it like the farm is done. The TV personality's confession followed the news last month that his dad had decided to take the farm off the market with plans to rent out the family home. However, not everyone is on board with the rental, as Matt revealed that Amy was completely against the idea. Amy's pain. Little People's Amy Roloff breaks down in tears in emotional new video as family remains divided over $4 million farm. The TLC star opened up about her past trauma after a misunderstanding with her husband Chris Merrick, 60. During the latest episode of Little People, Big World, fans watched as Amy, 60, and Chris deliberate on how they would plant the reality star's garden. After the TV personality's husband repeated the decided plan of action, Amy chirped, "That's why we're talking about this, and having a visual." A frustrated Chris jokingly exclaimed, "I thought it was clear," to which Amy quickly corrected, "No,
don't assume that.
It wasn't clear to me." She continued, motioning toward the area where her garden will be planted. "We're looking at this differently, and our words and comprehension is different." In an attempt to de-escalate the argument, Chris admitted, "I know we're just apples and oranges sometimes." The reality star fired back, "Well, just be patient. So what if I didn't get it?" In a confessional, Chris stated, "In my mind, I feel like I'm explaining it very well, very logically, and it makes sense. No argument needed, and sometimes I get a little frustrated because Amy's not catching on." Back in the yard, the pair is shown sitting together and agreeing that a plan has been made. Amy lovingly stated, "See, we can still work together, babe." Chris again puts his foot in his mouth when he responded, "I just have to hammer it out." "You can't think like that, hammering it out," Amy says. Chris then explained, "That's a business term. It's an expression," adding, "Don't get so offended," Amy confessed. "I am sensitive to that, you're right." She then disclosed, "I think it has a lot to do with trying to be so careful about my image and how people look at me throughout my whole life. Because all it takes is one little thing and poof, you're dismissed." In her own confessional, Amy revealed, "There are moments when Chris may say something and it's innocent on his part, but to me, it's like, what are you doing?" "I do have a tendency to be a little more sensitive because I still have that old adage from growing up and trying to fit in, trying to meet other people's expectations. Those elements, I know, definitely came into my marriage with Matt. There was a lot where I didn't feel as supported or encouraged, and when you have that a little bit over time, it can deflate you." Later, Amy and her husband discussed the disagreement with Chris, admitting, "I think early on that I had to push Amy sometimes to talk about stuff." Amy quickly interjected as she explains, "I think part of me struggled internally. I was also afraid that if I didn't say something right, he'd be walking out the door." The LPBW star is breaking into tears as she revisits her hardships growing up. "There are moments that go back to my childhood. I'm just glad he thinks I'm good enough." Chris then leans over and embraces his wife as he whispers, more to her than to the cameras, "More than good enough." Fans have expressed that they think Amy looks happier with her current husband Chris Merrick than she ever did with ex-Matt, 61. Amy posted photos from her and her husband's date night to Instagram that were captioned, "Date night with my handsome man. Hanging out in downtown Hillsborough, Friday night bites, and listening to CBD band." The first depicts the TV star smiling joyfully as she takes a selfie outside with the sunglasses wearing Chris. The next slide of the post is a recording of the aforementioned CBD band singing a folksy, bluegrass country music tune. The last photo shows Amy grinning at the camera as she prepares to dig into a giant cup of ice cream. Amy mentions the sugary treat in the post's caption, writing, "Had to top the night off with ice cream." Fans rushed to the comment section to show their support for Amy and her second husband. One fan wrote, "Never seen you so happy, Amy. I knew Chris was a good choice for you." A second person commented, "It's so nice to see you happy with Chris and enjoying life." Another followed added, "You look happy and amazing." While other fans continued to share a similar sentiment, writing, "May I say, you look so much happier these days, and I just love you two together." In last season's finale, Amy furiously confronted Matt and accused him of creating a nasty feud over the sale of the family farm. Matt put 16 acres of Roloff farms for sale for a whopping $4 million on May 12th. The TV personality blamed her ex-husband for creating a hornet's nest with his decision. Matt defended himself by saying, "There's 93 acres in this family," though Amy quickly interjected, stating, "No. There's 93 acres for Matt Roloff." In a confessional, the family matriarch explains that she doesn't see any type of ownership on Matt's part. Matt revealed that he feels his sons, Zach and Jeremy, both 32, have an air of entitlement. Again, Amy fired back, "You keep buying them ATV bikes every time they turn around. Don't blame it on me." Matt challenged his ex-wife, first admitting that he's talked a lot about his mistakes and then asking Amy, "Have you talked about your mistakes?" The U.S. Sun exclusively revealed that the portion of Roloff farms up for sale once belonged to Amy. Amy sold 32.28 acres of land for $975,000 on August 13, 2020. Matt took out a loan in the amount of $825,000 for the property exchange. Matt put 16 of Amy's 32.28 acres on the market after making renovations to the main home and adding more features. Little people. Big World Zach and Tori Roloff slammed by fans after sharing miscarriage experience. Little people. Big World stars Zach and Tori Roloff were slammed by fans after sharing their thoughts on abortion while discussing their miscarriage in a new podcast episode. "To me, when you get pregnant, that's a baby, and so when we lost that baby, it was like we just lost a part of our family," Tori, 33, explained as she shared a clip of the couple's Raising Heights podcast via Instagram on Tuesday, July 23rd. Although she didn't specify when the loss happened, the photographer is seemingly talking about the miscarriage she experienced in March 2021 before welcoming baby number 3 previous to this situation. I was very apolitical. But I think being in that room and being as traumatized as I was, it became black and white for me in that room, she explained to her husband. I'm not okay with this. I would never choose to be this room, and I don't understand how someone could choose to be in that room. Although Zach, 34, addressed a small percentage of situations in which women are pregnant after being sexually assaulted, he compared the situation to driving while intoxicated. If I go out and have beers at the bar and drink and drive, get in an accident, I'm going to jail, it's a consequence I chose, Zach responded. We don't think about this, that the choice to have sex, that was the choice. We want to choose the consequence, the outcome. Tori reiterated that's why it was hard for her to get on board with the narrative that abortion was healthcare, adding, it's like no. No viewers were quick to rush to the comment section to share their thoughts, slamming the TLC personalities for their privileged views. Ya done. Y'all start inserting your beliefs on others. I'm done with you. Bye. One user wrote. Meanwhile, another user added, you literally receive healthcare by getting a D&C when you lose a baby. That's on the table to be taken away when there's an abortion ban. The hypocrisy is unsettling here. Tori directly replied to the indifference in the comment section, writing, I 1000% see this point, and in that aspect, I see where it is necessary. If you listen to the whole episode, you'll realize that was not what I was talking about. I was talking about the women who choose to be in that room. In another response, she added, it is our podcast based solely on speaking what we are passionate about. Tori and Zach, who married in 2015, have 3 children, Jackson, Lila, and Josiah. Tori has been open about the pregnancy loss she experienced before welcoming their 3rd son, Josiah, in April 2022. Little People, Big World. Fans defend Zach and Tori Roloff against critics of their family vacation photos. Zach and Tori Roloff are no strangers to online critics. After appearing on TLC's Little People, Big World as a couple since season 10 and Zach since season 1, they've practically become experts at navigating trolls. However, fans of the reality stars recently stepped in to defend them against critics of their family vacation photos. On Thursday, June 27th, Tori took to Instagram to share photos from a trip she and Zach took with their 3 children, Jackson, 7, Lila, 4, and Josiah, 2. DC, you're a vibe. She captioned a carousel of pictures from Washington, D.C. I promise I'm here too. Just behind the Zach's mom, Amy Roloff wrote, Oh, I wish I would have made the trip now. Another time I hope. Bringing up Bates star Caryn Bates declared, So sweet in the comments. A handful of Instagram users also commented on Jackson and Lila's bowed legs, a common symptom of achondroplasia dwarfism, which they, Josiah and Zach, were all born with. Poor kid. Is there any treatment for his condition? One person wrote. To that, a fan snarked, So glad you caught this. I am sure his parents are so grateful that you pointed it out. I am sure his doctors are truly thankful for the Instagram docs. Another critic pointed out. Their poor little legs. It looks painful. Several fans defended Zach and Tori, with one writing, Are you serious? They are on top of the development with their kids. Jackson has had surgery. I'm sure if they were in pain they wouldn't be walking and the parents would know. Another Instagram user replied, As someone with a disability, just because something looks painful doesn't mean it is. Zach and Tori are great parents. They will take their legs when / if it becomes an issue. Meanwhile, someone else echoed in the comments, They're on top of everything when it comes to their beautiful children, so please don't assume that just because they have small legs and slightly bent. They are amazing parents. I have followed them since before they got married. Unsolicited comments about their kids' appearances must be difficult for Zach and Tori despite their many years in the spotlight. But at least fans are willing to step in when critics cross a line. Little People, Big World. Zach Roloff's wife Tori felt insecure being his first date, first kiss, first everything when it comes to matters of the heart. Tori Roloff was her husband Zach Roloff's first everything on an episode of the Little People, Big World Couples Raising Heights podcast released on May 23. Zach recalled his first impression of Tori after the first date. After Tori opened up about a piece of self-doubt she felt during the early stages of their courtship. One of my biggest insecurities dating you is I was always kind of like, are you going to want to see what else is out there? She explained. I was your first date, your first kiss, your first everything, and I was always kind of in the back of my mind like one day he's going to wake up and he's going to be like, oh, I want to go sample something else, like I've had enough of this flavor. I want to go try something else. While Zach assured her he didn't remember ever having those thoughts, he admitted that he probably could have dated a little longer before tying the knot. I was totally cool dating and you were like, all right, let's get this show on the road, he recalled, joking. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, already? We just started. That's 4 years. That's a long time. Tori laughed. I was waiting for it. I'm like, dude, I can't. Time is ticking, bro. Well, if it wasn't going to be with you, I was sitting there like, well, hold on, I'm already 24 at this point. I got to get the show on the road. Thank goodness it worked out, she added. The couple met when Tori was working on the Roloff farm and spent the 2010 pumpkin season picking squash with Zach. They eventually began dating in 2011 and went on to get married on the family farm in July 2015. Since then, they've welcomed 3 children, Jackson, Lila, and Josiah. While telling people of how they got together in 2017, Tori recalled how someone on working the farm let her know Zach was interested. A co-worker told me, Zachary really thinks you're cute, but doesn't think you'll ever go out with him, she smiled. Our first date lasted 5 hours, and we've been together ever since. Tori brought me out of my shell and made me more social, Zach added. She gave me confidence. Fans speculate Little People, Big World is coming to an end after 25 seasons. It looks like fans will finally say goodbye to Little People, Big World after 25 seasons on TLC, at least according to the show's star, Matt Roloff. In a lengthy Facebook post he recently shared, Matt answered fan questions, seemingly confirming that the show has now come to an end, even though last week's episode wasn't advertised as a series finale. Is it really over? Fans seem to think so, and that's exactly how TLC has been advertising it, as a season finale. But according to Matt's Facebook post, that's not truly what's going on. He started by saying that he's no longer under a no-disclosure agreement, so he can answer questions more freely these days, and he began by talking about the future of the show. It's true that several family members have announced publicly that they are no longer interested in filming LPBW. I think Amy, myself, and producers have known this for quite some time, he wrote. It's true. His son Zach and his wife, Tori, announced in February that this season would be their last. He shared that even his fiancée, Caryn, is done with filming. It does present a problem because the show is relationship-based as much as many of you hate, and we see the comments about the rifts and strifes between the family members, the better the ratings do, he wrote. Viewers want relationship drama and then resolutions. The less relationship interactions are filmed together on camera, the harder it is to produce the show. Chris and Caryn coming on board to help replace some family members. I do think that TLC did a nice job on the last Tuesday season finale episode, hedging their bets and putting a nice button on the show and where the family members that still participate stands, he explained. So if LPBW never does come back, in whatever various other forms, I think consensus is they wrapped up the Roloff LPBW Crazy Train saga pretty good. That would make sense. Even if the show doesn't return in its current format, it still leaves the door open for update specials if the family decides they're open to that. But if it is over, Matt seems to have peace with the way things concluded. I feel very content and satisfied with the run of shows and the journey we share with you all, he shared. The ratings continued to build and stand strong and consistent. We're super proud of that. Little People, Big World death. Who died from the family long before the Roloff's gray screens on TLC's Little People, Big World. In 2006, the famous reality TV family suffered a tragedy. Matt Roloff, the patriarch of the Oregon family, prematurely said goodbye to his younger brother Josh in a heartbreaking loss, Radar Online revealed in 2016. Matt, one of the family members who was born with dwarfism, talked about the tragedy in the 2007 book, Little People, Big Values. Josh was born 2 years after Matt and faced a complicated birth just like his big brother. Matt suffers from dystrophic dwarfism, which affects his leg, arm, shoulder, hip, and knee. Josh, however, was born with an obstruction that affected his heart and lungs. It would ultimately lead to his untimely death at 34 years old. A great son, brother, uncle, and friend who was with us in this life for far too short a time, the family said in a statement when Josh died in 1999, per Radar Online. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.